ballroom of the five-star hotel gleamed like a dream. Golden streamers draped from the ceiling, and a string quartet played a gentle tune beneath a towering ice sculpture of a swan. Photographers buzzed around like flies, capturing the glittering guests in designer gowns and tailored suits. Waiters in white gloves passed around hors d'oeuvres. So delicate they looked like jewelry. In the center of it all, under a spotlight, was the most extravagant birthday cake anyone had ever seen. 5 tiers tall, each layer adorned with sugar roses and edible gold leaf. A plaque read in elegant script, "Happy 10th birthday, Isabella Blackstone." But Bella, the birthday girl, sat completely still in her wheelchair. Her curls had been brushed perfectly. Her blue satin dress shimmered under the lights. Her feet, clad in tiny diamond-studded shoes, hung motionless over the footrests. No one stood near her. She glanced at her slice of cake untouched. Her fork lay beside her plate unused. Her mouth twitched, trying to smile, but the weight of pretending was too heavy. Across the room, her father, Alexander Blackstone, laughed with other CEOs near the champagne fountain. His Rolex gleamed. His posture was powerful. Not once had he looked in her direction. A group of children, her supposed party guests, played near, the magician on the side stage, but not one of them had come to say hello. They were too scared, or too unsure of how to talk to a girl in a wheelchair. Bella turned her head slightly and watched the flickering candle on the cake. It had been burning for 5 minutes. No one had sung. No one had clapped. No one had even said, "Make a wish." And so, in the quietest voice, she whispered to herself, "I wish I wasn't invisible." Her chest rose slowly and then fell, and still, no one noticed. She looked around. A sea of grown-ups trying to impress each other. Not one pair of eyes met hers. She blinked hard, fighting back tears. Her mother had died 2 years ago. Since then, birthdays had become something to be thrown, not felt. Her father only knew how to build companies, not moments. He thought throwing money at the day would fill her heart. But money didn't hold her hand. Money didn't laugh at her jokes. Money didn't miss her when she was alone. The quartet shifted into another tune, a bolder one. Bella sat still, her hands folded in her lap like porcelain. And then, the ballroom doors opened. In stepped a man who didn't belong. No tuxedo, no watch, no entourage. Just a tired man in a wrinkled blue shirt, and beside him a girl with wild pigtails and grass-stained sneakers. They paused just inside the door, unsure. Bella turned her head slowly, and their eyes met. The moment Daniel Rivera stepped into the ballroom, he knew he didn't belong. The room was too shiny, too polished. Every person inside looked like they had just stepped out of a luxury magazine. His wrinkled blue shirt and off-brand shoes felt louder than the quartet music. He instinctively tugged at his collar, wishing he had at least ironed it beside him. His 9-year-old daughter Leah gripped his pinky. She was wearing a polka dot dress she had picked herself from the clearance bin at Target. "Are we in the right place?" Daniel asked the hostess, who had barely glanced at the guest list. "Oh yes, go right in," she had said, distracted by a tablet. Daniel had received the invite through Leah's school, but the more he looked around, the more certain he was there had been a mistake. He didn't even know who Isabella Blackstone was until he saw her. A little girl in a wheelchair. Alone. Her own birthday party. She wasn't playing with the kids. She wasn't smiling. Her birthday cake sat in front of her, perfectly untouched, the candle still flickering like it had been waiting for someone to notice, and she was looking at him. No, not at him, at Leah. Daniel felt a tug on his shirt. "Daddy," Leah whispered, "why is the birthday girl all by herself?" He crouched down to her level. "I don't know, baby. Can we sit with her?" Daniel hesitated. "We weren't really invited, sweetie. But she looks like she needs a friend." Leah didn't wait for permission. She walked straight up to Bella's table and stopped beside her. Bella blinked in surprise. Leah leaned forward. "Hi, I'm Leah. Your dress is so pretty." "Is that real sparkle?" Bella stared for a second, stunned, and then nodded. "Yes." "You look like a princess," Leah said matter-of-factly. "I don't know any real princesses." "Can I sit with you?" Bella's lips twitched. She nodded again. Slower this time. Daniel approached carefully. "Hi there," he said gently. "I hope we're not intruding. We kind of crashed your party by accident." Bella glanced at her father across the room, who was still busy networking, oblivious. She looked back at Daniel. And then she did something that nearly broke him. She said softly, almost like a question, "Can you stay?" Daniel felt a lump rise in his throat. Of course, he said, pulling out a chair. Leah was already telling Bella a silly story about how she once fell into a fountain at the zoo. Bella giggled. Not a polite giggle, a real messy, childlike giggle that made her shoulders bounce. Her entire face lit up. For the first time all day, she looked like a 10-year-old girl. Daniel watched as the two girls leaned over the cake together. "Did you make your wish yet?" Leah asked. Bella shook her head. Leah smiled wide. "Let's do it now." The two girls closed their eyes, hands linked. Bella took a breath. She wished that they wouldn't leave. Across the room, Alexander Blackstone finally turned to look. He noticed something odd. His daughter was laughing, truly laughing, not with the